Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I am going to, I don't want to say assuage my guilt. I'm not sure if that's the right word. I'm going to make myself feel better about myself. I went and looked at some of the old comments and questions on these YouTube videos, and I have not been responsive. I apologize. I'll put a link below where I describe what has been happening in our lives and why we were delayed in coming back to the channel with new content. But today I'm going to look at some of those categories of questions, and I'm going to answer for them. I'm going to answer them for you here. But first, if you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Jennifer Preston. My husband Michael and I are the OG of Happier Campers. We bought an HC1 in 2016, and we haven't looked back since. We currently have an HCT. And this channel is really all about helping you learn about the Happier Camper rigs, how they work. If you're interested in buying one, have questions, drop them in the comments. I'm always happy, especially now that I'm getting on top of it, to answer your questions. But also, if you are thinking about buying a camper, maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. Yeah, hopefully this set of videos will help you learn a little bit more, maybe build up your confidence to take the leap. Michael and I had never camped before, and we just pulled the trigger and bought a camper. Yeah, that was the thing. But let's get going. Okay, first category of questions that I had were around just kind of sleeping in general. So one question was, can you sleep? They described it as north to south in the HC1, and I think what they're asking is, I think you can see in one of my videos, in an HC1, we generally kitted it out as a queen size bed in the back, and then in the front we had our kitchenette as well as our dry flush toilet. So the answer is yes. In fact, I have friends, maybe I'll see if I can get him to send me a picture and I'll put it into this video, that in their HC1, they have on each side of the camper, over the wheel wells, they actually stack 3 cubes on each side. So that plus the cushioned edge creates 2 separate sleeping areas. I think that if you're a restless sleeper, maybe you want to sleep separately, or if you have dogs that you're traveling with, that gives them a little bit more room in the center, because you'll have one floor panel length down the middle between those 2 sleeping areas where your pets can sleep, or a human child, if that's how you roll. So yes, you can. You can sleep north to south. The other question was the bed toppers. Like, can you feel it where it connects? Where do I get one? I actually wrote a piece for our website. I'm going to link it below, because this was such a journey for us. I'm a really fussy sleeper. I sleep with a lot of pillows. I'm just going to say that. And I like to be comfortable. And the bed toppers that I kept buying would work to some degree. And I found that one of the most important features, and this is why I recommend getting the Happier Camper bed topper, which is expensive, I know that, is because it fulfills 2 purposes. And frankly, with a rig this small, you want to be thinking about, like, well, what could I, one, where am I going to store it? Like, where am I going to fold it up? And then secondly, like, is there another use case for this thing? So because bed toppers are big, they're not going to fit inside of a cube. But I can tell you right now, those cubes are really big. They're going to give you way more room than you think you have. And since you can't get a topper into a bed cube, that means you kind of have to wrestle with, like, what am I using this thing for during the day? How am I folding it up? Especially if you're in the HC1. The HC1, unless you're leaving the bed in place, which lots of folks do, if you're breaking down the bed at night to set up the table and a sitting area to use in the camper during the day, you're probably going to have to put whatever non-Happier Camper topper you get into your car if you want to have enough room. Because what you do with your bedding during the day is a question, right? If it's folding and you can get it in a cube like regular pillows or blankets, whatever, that's great, but bed toppers don't work that way. And so the HC topper rolls like a Swiss roll, and it has Velcro on it to close it. I've got a video on this. I'll link it below so that you can actually go see me do this. And yeah, they roll up and they act as like a back bolster for when you're sitting on one of the cubes during the day. It's great. And someone asked, can you feel that seam where those two pieces connect? And my answer is no, I don't ever feel that seam. I don't know if over time I will, but to date we've had no problem with that. So those are the questions around the bed topper. This is a related sleep question, which is how would I fit 4 people in an HC? I think there's a question like, are these all adults? Are they adults and children, right? I mean, if you are 2 adults and 2 children, either the HC1 or the HCT, if your kids are small enough, I definitely recommend getting the bunk beds because that seems to work really well for people. In fact, if I had it to do over again, I'd get the bunk beds just to use them as a place to fold bed linen, particularly for the HC1, only because I'm kind of lazy, and if I was breaking down the bed, I'd want to just like throw that stuff up somewhere instead of opening up cubes and putting it all together. So that would be 2 adults and 2 kids. Now, if you're going to sleep 4 adults, you can do that in an HC1. You do this kind of like mega cube install, right? Where the entire interior, you have either cubes and tabletops or all cubes, whatever configuration works for you. And the entire surface is a sleeping surface. That's a really easy thing to do. Now, this isn't, I think if I was on some kind of a cross-country trip with a bunch of people and we just were looking for a place to sleep at night because we've been out hiking all day, something like that would work. Everybody throws their sleeping bag in there. It's close quarters. It's not a problem. But maybe like less like a family weekend away. I'm not sure if you'd want to sleep 4 adults like that. Maybe 4 drunk adults, but yeah, maybe not for me. When we did this trip where we went camping with our 2 adult children, we brought a tent with us. And I feel really guilty about this because I keep telling people the reason I love the camper is because camping in a tent kind of looks like a human taco for a bear to me. We were not, I want to say we weren't in bear country, but even in Massachusetts where we were at the time, there are bears. I'm just going to say that at no point did I feel I was putting our children at risk by having them sleep in a tent. Now, the HCT, which Michael and I currently have, yeah, that's easy for adults. That's not a problem. Again, it all comes down to how you configure it, and this is why the adaptive interior is so awesome. Now, if you're looking at the HCT door, when you come in, immediately on your left is the kitchenette and the wet bath. In the back of the camper, it kits out to about a full-size sleeping area. So, I'm not the smallest person in the world. I don't think you'd want 2 of me back there, but people of a slender body makeup would perfectly fit in the back of the camper. And then in the front of the camper, you could even you could probably sleep 5 people there, all in, 3 in the front if you wanted to. I think it would be tight. But again, like if we didn't have the fridge there, what I would have is I'd have 3 cubes and a queen size kitted out for the front of the camper. So the HCT, that's kind of a no-brainer. The HC1, it's a yes, definitely for 2 adults and 2 kids, and if you're willing to sacrifice your children in a tent to a bear, also an option for you. So then I had questions about the fridge drawer and the refrigerator itself. So the refrigerator itself, we actually stack that. Now, we've only once had a scenario where it toppled, and I can't remember what it was. Like, I don't know if we hit a huge pothole, but whatever it was a bit of an aberration, because especially since we got the cubes, the half cubes with the drawers, which honestly, like if you were an original owner like Michael and I were back in 2016, every innovation that these guys come out with, I get so excited about. And the drawers were, my husband said I had a drawergasm. I'll put a link to the video. It was incredibly exciting. So we have those two stacked half cubes with drawers, and we put it's like a college dorm fridge. We put that on top of that. That works really well for us. Now that does have like a little freezer spot as well as the normal fridge type spot. I'm pretty sure I did a video on that. I'll look for it. I'll also link that below. So that setup works really well for us, and it's really pretty stable. Now the drawer, the pull-out drawer, which I think is optional, so in the HCT, it's optional to have it inside the body of the kitchenette. And if you have an HC1, I think they offer the fridge drawer now in a cube, which honestly, I may have just made that up. I don't think I did. But if that's an option, you should totally get that. That drawer is so much larger than I thought it was going to be. It's incredibly useful. But the question I got was, could it be used as a freezer? And no, I think it's not ever going to get that cold that you could put frozen items in there and have them stay frozen. But I do think it would take them a while to melt. I think it's cold enough in there that, it would be, they would last probably a couple days. Now we also have the cube, the insulated cube, which can be used as a cooler. And honestly, at this point, we now have way too much space to store cold things between the fridge, the drawer, and that cube. But that cube is great because you fill it up with ice, drop your stuff in there, and then all you have to do is, when you're ready to clean out your camper at the end of a trip, that insert inside the cube, which is where it's insulated, that just pulls right out. You can dump the water out from those melted ice cubes. So those were, I'm getting a visit from our dog. Those were like some of the big categories I had in my first pass of reviewing questions. I'm going to go through and look for some more. If you have questions, please put them in comments below because, again, I'm going to be better and I'm going to get on top of all the questions you might have. And I was thinking of doing another video, but about the new packages Happier Camper is offering, because now they've got the Breeze and there's like some nuance. It's the same body as the HC1, but what is in those and what differentiates them. I'd be happy to go through that for folks if you think that would be useful. So just let me know below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the bell so that the next time I drop a video, it's quick and dirty for you to get it. I hope y'all are doing well and have a great time camping. Take care.